morning, children. Welcome to your English video lecture. Children, today we are going to revise chapter number 4 from your book Honeycomb. Okay, and the name of the chapter is The Ashes That Made Tree Bloom. So here in this chapter, students, we will be doing the question answers. Okay, and with the question answers, with the explanation of the question answers, we will kind of revise that what we have read in the chapter. Okay, so now let's start the chapter. But before that, I would like to tell all of you that those who are, you all know that your examinations are from 15th. So I hope that you have started your preparation for examination, and all of you are able to understand that what your teachers have taught you till now. Okay, so children, everything for your examination is going to be the things that we have read in the previous videos, previous classes. So here this is just a revision video where we will be discussing the question answers. Okay, so let's start. First of all, the question is, why did the neighbor kill the dog? So we all know that this chapter is about that how a dog who was dead was able to help his master to get some goals and few other you can say few other appreciations that he got with the help of his dog who was dead. Even after he was dead, he was able to help his master, who was very fond of his dog, who loved his dog as of he was his own son. So this is the whole chapter that we have read, that we will discuss the chapter also, but right now we are discussing the question number 1, which is, why did the neighbor kill the dog? So the neighbor killed the dog in anger. They have expected the dog to help them get a treasure, but the dog had rather taken them to a foul smell dead kitten. So what happened when we know that the dog, the neighbor who were just staying at the just staying where the old couple lived, they saw that how the old couple, they were able to discover gold with the help of their dog. So they were very greedy, and in that greed they wanted the dog to find the same treasure for them also, right? That was the reason that they somehow manages to keep the dog for to invite the dog inside their house, and they wanted the dog to impress the dog, and then after that they wanted the dog to find the treasure for them. But as the dog, he was really aware of that how those neighbors are, how they treat other animals. So he instead of taking them to the treasure part, he took them to a place where there was a dead kitten, right? So this made them very angry, and that was the reason that they, in that anger, in that frustration, that the real aim of them to invite the dog inside their house, even though they hated dog, was that they wanted to be rich. They wanted to get the gold from him. But the dog, as he also knew that how these neighbors are, so he tricked them basically. And in that thing, that when the dog tricked them, and they were able to discover that there is the place that they were digging was not actually a place where the golds are, but there was a dead kitten. So that made them very furious, very angry, and in that anger, in that frustration, they basically killed the dog, right? So this was the first question. Now let's move on to the second question. Second question is, the old farmer is a kind person. What evidence of his kindness do you find in the first two paragraphs? So to answer this question, answer is written here, children. Let's see. Let's read the answer first, then we will discuss it. In the first paragraph, it is written that the old man treated the dog like his own child. Okay, so when we were discussing the chapter, we also discussed that the farmer, he basically treated the dog as if he is a living being. He was a living being, but as a human child, right? He was treating his dog as if he is his own son. Okay, he will feed the dog small pieces of fishes with their own chopstick and offer boiled rice to him as much as he wanted. So they, really love the dog very much, and in that love, in that affection, what they used to do, they used to give him the bones, the chicken, the fish pieces with their own chopstick. The chopstick that they were using, chopsticks are what, beta? Chopsticks are basically a spoon that Japanese people use. Okay, so they use the similar chopstick that they use for their own eating food, right? And that with that chopstick they used to give the fish pieces to the dog. Okay, and they also used to give the rice from their own bowl to the dog. So this shows that how affectionate they felt towards the dog. They, treated the dog as if that the dog is their own, own son. So this much love the old couple had for the dog. The second paragraph says that to provide food to the birds, the old farmer will offer of the second paragraph says that to provide food to the birds, the old farmer will often turn up the surface of the ground. Both these instances prove that the old man was a kind person. So from the first paragraph we already discussed. Now in the second paragraph it is given to us that what used to happen, that when the farmer, the old man, he used to go for the farming place where he used to do his farming. He used to, walk to the when he used to walk to the road, walk to the place, what he used to do, he used to dug the surface so that the bird, they could eat the earthworm that are present on the ground, so that it could be easier for them to eat those earthworms. So this much kindness that the farmer had for people, farmer had for the different kind of animals, you can say. Okay, this shows that how kind the farmer was. Okay, children, now let's move on to the third question, which is, what did the dog do to lead the farmer to the hidden goat? So we know that what happens in the story later, when the farmer, they reaches to the place where he used to do farming. The dog, the dog, what he does, the dog came running towards the farmer. It kept his paws against against his legs, and with his head is kept in the one direction towards the spot behind him. What he was doing, he was basically trying to lead the farmer to a place, because that dog, he knew that that place has gold or whatever he had feeling about it. So this is the thing that the dog did, so that he could lead the farmer to the place where the gold was. Okay, and also at that time when he was doing this, what happened, the farmer, he thought that the dog is doing this because that dog wants to play. So he was taking it as a normal playful thing, but then he realized that maybe he wants to dig the place because there is a piece of bones, maybe a piece of bone, so that the dog wants to eat. But when the farmer, he started digging the ground, after some time he discovered that there are gold pieces of gold there, right? So this was what happened and this is how the farmer was able to get the hidden gold from the ground with the help of his dog, right? Moving on, children. Also, the old man initially ignored the dog, as I have already discussed, but it kept on whining and running to and from for until the farmer followed to the spot. Okay, so until the farmer followed him to the place where the dog wanted him to go. Okay, the dog, it didn't stop. The dog was still doing the thing. He was standing on his legs and wanted the farmer to go to the place with him. And until the farmer didn't went with him to the place, he was doing the thing again and again, so that he could get what he could understand that what he wanted to say. Now children, now the next question, which is, how did the spirit of the dog help the farmer first? How did it help second? So these questions both are combined together. So the question is that how did the spirit of the dog help the farmer? How it helped help in first time, how it helped the second time. So let's discuss. The spirit of the dog came in the farmer's dream and first again asked him to chop the pine tree and make mortar and hand mill out of it. With the mortar and hand mill, it gave the farmer heaps of gold. So, so at first, what happened? The spirit of the dog came to his, to the farmer's dream, and it asked the farmer to chop the which pine tree under which the dog was buried, right? So it asked the farmer to chop that pine tree, and with that pine tree make a mortar and hand mill. What is mortar and hand mill? You can understand it, basically they both are utensils. Okay, so the dog wanted them to make these utensils with the help of the wood, okay, that is cut out from the pine tree. And the farmer, as he loved the dog very much, so he did the similar thing which the spirit of the dog asked him to do. And when he made the dish in that particular utensil, what happened? The farmer was able to get the heaps of gold, right? And the second time, how he wait a second, children. Okay, so the second time, how he was able to get the what the thing the dog asked. So the dog spirit again came in the farmer's dream for the second time and told the farmer to collect the ashes of the mortar and the mill and sprinkle it on the withered trees. What it means? Withered means the dead trees, okay, and they will blossom. The farmer did this in front of the daimyo, the landlord, and was awarded with the lavishing gifts. So what happened in the second time when the dog came in his master's dream? The dog told his master to do what? He said that, please master, go to the place where the what happened at the first time when they made the mortar and mill with the bamboo, with the pine tree, the wood of the pine tree. What happened? The neighbors, they was watching all the things, that how they were able to get heaps of gold. So as they were very greedy, they wanted to get their golds themselves, right? So what they did, they went to the old couple's house and asked for that mortar and handmill. And they also did the same thing. They also made the dish in that mortar and with the help of the mortar and the hand mill. But what happened? They were not even to they were not able to get the heap of goals. Instead, what happened? Their home, it became it has the foul smell, right? It has foul smell all over the house. So in that anger, what they did, the neighborhood couple, they basically burned the mill and mortar. So in the second time, when the dog came in the dream of his master, he asked his master to please go, master, and take the ashes of the mortar and mill, and if you will use the ashes of the mortar and mill and sprinkle those ashes, you will be able to revive the withered trees. Okay, and the farmer did the same thing. And what he did, first of all, he tried it for himself, and after that he did the same thing in front of the king, or you can say landlord of that place. And as the landlord saw the beautiful tree blossom once again, he was really happy. He was really really happy, really excited to see that, and he awarded the old man with the lavishing gifts. Okay, so this is what happened. Now children, next question. Okay, next question is, why did the daimyo rewarded the farmer but punished the neighbor for the same? So we know that the neighbor, they were too, they were so greedy that they were doing exactly the same thing that the old couple were doing. But because they were greedy, they were not able to get the same award or reward as the farmers were getting. The farmer couple were getting, because the all the magical things that were happening with the farmer was because he was a very selfless man. He was a very kind man. That was the reason. But as the neighborhood couple, they were greedy. They were they were so bad at all things. So what happened? Due to that greediness, they were not even able to think about what they are doing exactly, right? And in anger, they were just destroying the things that they had. So now let's see the answer. The farmer had sprinkled the ashes over the withered cherry trees, and it blossomed. right? So as the farmer, he did what, he sprinkled the ashes on the trees and he was able to revive the trees, right? And Demio was pleased seeing the miracle and he rewarded the farmer, right? This is what happened with the farmer. Now this, after seeing the similar thing, the neighbor, they also wanted to get the reward from the Demios. So what they did, his neighbor pounded the ashes over the cherry tree, but nothing happened to the tree. They also did the same thing. They also took the ashes that they had in their home of the miller and mortar, and they also sprinkled the ashes on the withered trees, but it was not able to get revived. Fine particles from the ashes enter the eyes of the Demio and his wife. They begin to sneeze and cough. This spoiled the splendor of the procession, and so the neighbors were punished by man of the landlord. So what happened, as the neighbor, they did the same thing. They took the ashes and they also sprinkled the ashes, but they were not able to, the ashes that they threw on the trees were not able to revive the trees once again. So what happened, the ashes, they went in the eyes of and nose of the Demios and his wife, and they both started sneezing and coughing due to the ashes, particles of ashes. So basically the neighbor did what, they spoiled the ceremony, right? The ceremony that used to happen regularly. So they basically did what, they spoiled the ceremony, and in that anger, the man of the landlord, he punished the neighborhood couple. They beated the couple, and the couple, not the couple, the man, and he died at the end of the story, right? So children, these were the textual question answers from your chapter, and I hope that all of you understood that what the chapter is all about. As we know that the chapter is about the ashes that made tree bloom. So the ashes, which ashes were able to make the tree bloom? That is the ashes of the mortar and miller, which was made from the pine tree under which the dog was buried, right? And in this we saw that if you have greed, you are not, what is the moral of the story? In simple words, we can say that if you have greed, you cannot achieve the same thing that you expect, to get when which get that a person who is not greedy is getting, right? A person who is selfless can achieve anything, but a person who is greedy cannot achieve anything, because the main focus of that person is on the some other one, what the other person is getting, not even that what he should do so that he could also achieve the same thing. So this is what the whole story is about, that we saw that in that greediness, the neighbor was, at the end, he also lost his life, because he was, just blindly doing all the things that that the farmer couple were doing, but the farmer couple was able to get the rewards because they were selfless, right? They never had this thing in their mind that they are doing these things so that they could get the reward out of it. No, they were just simply doing what they were simply living their life. But the neighborhood couple, they first of all killed the dog, and in that, first of all they killed the dog, animal, and also they destroyed everything they could have, right? So children, this is the whole story, and I hope that all of you understood this. So this was the revision video for the chapter, the ashes that made you bloom. I hope you all understood this. Okay, so children, all the best for your examination. I hope you are preparing for examination pretty well. Okay, thank you, and have a nice day, children.